Alright, hey, here's Mega here, and I'm making a video on how to remove and install the wheel on a Alta Redshift SM, okay? For the dirt bike model, I'd imagine it's probably different because obviously you get a different size wheel and you have different forks, so this is more specific for the Supermoto model, okay? And it's way more difficult than the back, is what I want to say. There's a lot of stuff. The back I can do really easy. This one I have to have the instruction manual to do it. All right, so we're gonna do it by the manual, pretty much. All right, so I want to say, okay, so let's get started. I've got a plethora of tools right down here on the ground. I know you guys can't see them, but there they are. I've got an impact gun. So I have a Supermoto, homemade Supermoto sliders. I'll be removing those, so I need the tools to do that. I've got torque wrench and a 27mm, all right, for the nut. And then I've got a smaller torque wrench there on the left to tighten the pinch bolts. All right, so this is a lot more involved than doing the rear. Okay, the rear is like super easy. The front is not. It's kind of complicated. Okay, but anyway, the first step is to support the bike on a pit stand or lift, so the wheel being removed is off the ground. Push the body of the caliper towards the disc to slightly depress the caliper pistons into the bores. Okay, so it makes it easier to put them back in. But anyway, we're on the stand right now, all right? Probably right there is good, all right? Just right off of the ground. That way you're not having to lift the wheel up a whole lot, all right? The bike may rock back when you take the wheel off, though. I don't know why, okay? So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Supermoto sliders off, okay? So I wouldn't normally do this, but it says it in the instructions, so let's go ahead and do it. It says to push on the piston, push on the caliper, so it goes back into the bore. So one of these. I think this is different. This is a radial mounted caliper. I don't think that makes a difference. I think you got to take it off and do it, man. Yeah, you got to take it off and do it. Alright, let's not worry about that. I don't think they mentioned in the manual, but you have to take the front caliper off, right? For the Supermoto, you have to do that, alright? Because this thing has a freaking massive brake. Okay, so I'm gonna cut my safety wire here. Ooh, I have to redo it now. If you guys want to learn how to safety wire or how to drill these bolts and safety wire, I have a separate video on that, guys. So check that video out. Okay, so what you're going to need is an 8mm Allen head socket wheelie. Okay, so we're going to take this caliper off. Okay, 8mm, guys. Probably just use the impactor. Okay, make sure you don't lose these spacers. Okay, there's a spacer. I can't understand why they made this so complicated. The front is so complicated, however the rear is so simple. Okay, so there you go. Calipers out. And then yeah, so just let it hang there. It says not to let it hang there, but I'm gonna let it hang there. Okay. Okay, so the next part of the instructions say to loosen the left side pinch bolts and then remove the axle nut. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to just loosen them. Okay, and now that allows us to remove the axle. I think you can do it without it. I've done it before, but take your 27mm socket. Okay, the nut. So actually removing it is actually not that hard. Installing it is even more difficult, guys. Alright, so now you gotta loosen the right side pinch bolts. Okay, and then now you can pull the axle out. Yeah, you remember to take your caliper off, right? Alright, so you just pull it out. Should just slide right out. Okay, and the wheel should be loose. There's the axle. Put that somewhere safe. And then just slide it forward. And you gotta take the caliper out with it. Okay, just like that. And roll it forward. Okay. Okay, I got my other wheel. I'm gonna roll that one forward. Now we're gonna go install, put the caliper back in. So taking the caliper off actually just make it easier. Oh, I can't see. Okay, there we go. You have the caliper in there. Roll it back. Now you're going to want to put the axle back in. Lift the wheel up. All right, that's why, and that's why I said don't lift it up too high, so you don't have to. I'm going to slide the axle back in. Make sure it's clean and it's greased up, and it is. So I'm going to put it back in. Okay. Make sure the other side lines up. Okay. Push this thing forward. Okay. That's the easy part. Direct next is the hardest. Okay, so I think this has the axle itself has a stop on it. All right, so you push it in all the way as far as it'll go, and that's it, right? All right, there's an actual stop. There's actual stop, so that you can't push the axle in anymore. Okay, and then it says to temporarily tighten the pinch bolts on the right side. Okay. Okay, so I wrote the torques on the fork itself. All right, so this is the pinch bolts are 15 Newton meters, and the axle nut is 33 foot-pounds or 45 Newton meters. All right, but for bigger torques I like to use foot-pounds. All right, so once the axle's in there, go ahead and tighten up the nut. The reason they tell you to tighten the left side up first is so it doesn't spin. Okay, I mean the right side. Okay, and you're just going to go ahead and torque that. Okay, you're going to torque it to 33 foot-pounds. Okay, not too much. Okay, so now what it says is to, and so I talked to a dude that has a Husky with similar suspension, and he says he doesn't do this. All right, so I don't know if you have to do it or not. So you've got to loosen the bolts again, okay, and then you got to lower the bike and bounce it up and down. Right. So it says to loosen the right side pinch bolts, all right, and then find the midpoint of the axle or something. I guess you want to move this thing in. All right, I guess, I don't know. I hope I'm doing this right, man. This is my second time doing this, guys. Okay. So we're gonna go install the brake caliper now, because we're gonna have to bounce the bike up and down. So go ahead and put the spacer in between the caliper, and then put the bolts in there, okay? Yeah, dude, I told you, this is a major pain in the ass, dude. Okay, the same thing for the bottom one. I'm trying not to mix them up because I have these drilled for safety wire, so they're drilled for supposed to be in a special position. Okay, now we're gonna go torque the caliper to 24 foot-pounds. I think it's 35 newton meters or something, but I'm gonna use foot-pounds. All right, so there's 1, 2, more time for good luck. Okay. Calipers on there. So if you remember correctly, we loosened that pinch bolt. Now we're gonna have to go bounce the bike up and down, and it says to use the front brakes to do it. All right, so that's why we had to put the brakes back on. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze the brakes and some pressure. We're gonna lower the bike off the lift. Okay, drop the bike. You're gonna bounce the bike up and down a bunch of times with the brake lever, the brake. All right. Go ahead and put it back on the stand. Okay, now it says to tighten the axle, the pinch bolts. All right, the pinch bolts to 15 newton meters. Okay, and you got to do it alternating. So we'll just use it with the gun first, real quick. Okay, we're going to tighten the pinch bolts to 15 newton meters now. And you want to alternate until it stops moving. Okay, that side. When you tighten one side, the other side should be really easy to tighten. Okay. Until it just finally stops moving. Okay. And then now it says you got to loosen the axle nut. Put it back in. All right, and then torque it to 45 newton meters or 33 foot-pounds. The torque wrench was like perfect. Okay guys, and so there it is. What a mess. All right, that is how you remove and install a wheel on a Alta Redshift SM. All right, and there it is. Okay, so it is way more difficult than the rear. The rear I can do in like less than 5 minutes or something. All right, this will probably take me like half an hour. Now I'm hoping with practice I'll be able to do it, you know, faster, as well. Say it doesn't mention to take the caliper off in the manual, but you have to take the caliper off. All right, the caliper is monster on the Supermoto, and it will not come off if you don't, unless you take the thing off. So that means every time I have to change the wheel, I'll have to like safety wire it again if I'm at the racetrack. All right, if I'm just riding on the street, I will not safety wire it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so kind of it's confusing, all right? And there's a couple steps in there like I don't understand why they're in there, you know. Now that could be because I think this is for the MX models and not the Supermoto model. Okay, it's not. They don't have a specific, at least not that I found, specific instructions for the Supermoto wheel, all right? Because it doesn't mention taking the caliper off, right? And you have to do that with the Supermoto. Okay, and then you have to put it back on when you're putting everything back on, because you need to use the front brakes to compress the suspension to get it to line up. Now I heard that you don't really need to do that, but that's what the manual says, so I'll do it. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully with practice and repetition, I'll get it down. I can get it down to within 5 minutes. Okay, but yeah, this took me quite a while to do. All Alright, but anyway, that's how you do it. I'd imagine probably if you have a bike with a similar fork and wheel setup, that's how you would do it on that bike also, like a Husky FS 450 or something. Okay, I've never done it on a Husky FS 450, but that's how you do it on this bike. It's pretty straightforward, but yeah, you gotta like tighten this, then loosen that, and torque this, and then yeah, it's a real pain in the butt. All right, but I've done it once, all right, and I took it to the track, and it was safe to ride, so it's good. Okay, I think I did it right, this type of thing, all right, because the bike runs good. All right. Anyway, I hope this was an educational and entertaining video. Thanks for watching. Hayes Big Out. And yes, it requires much more tools than the rear. The rear, literally, you can do it with the 27mm socket, and that's it. Okay. The front, you have to have like a big torque wrench and a little torque wrench, and yeah, and then you still need the big socket and everything. It's a lot more involved, the front, and I was gonna say, all right, you would think it would be simpler, but it's not. All right. If you had to do this in the pit crew, I don't know, man. All right, let's make out.